fighting is stressful in itself, and it's a very big mental game, like the whole camp and everything you do. So dealing with all that and then trying to figure out like this whole USADA stuff are constantly up your ass. Like testing you, doing all this stuff and making sure that you're doing the right thing. They're just doing their job, but like dealing with that type of stimulus and then going to camps and then having fights fall through and then dealing with that pandemic stuff, and then you get there and I fought in the Apex before when I was on Contender Series, and that was a super cool experience. That was like the best fight I ever had. I loved every bit of it. And the transition like post pandemic, and you can just tell like the UFC workers and stuff are just all overworked and exhausted and dealing with this COVID stuff. Like it was just a different energy. So it was kind of a letdown a little bit, having to deal with that and then not having any, fans. The whole process dealing with that, it was very different. I really wish I could have had the opportunity to fight, in front of a whole bunch of people like what you see on TV and like what we're back to now. It's kind of unfortunate, but it is what it is. I can only do what I'm doing now.
No, I mean, you're right. There was, we're starting to see more of the fight nights go to, other cities. Like, I think about a month ago it was down here in Texas and San Antonio, and then now, all the different ones are kind of going everywhere. Sometimes they'll be at the Apex just in case, they need something or whatever, but it does seem like all the other fight nights now are really kind of going everywhere else. So, as much as they're still going on tour, you still get some of those fights that are at the Apex, which is, a smaller octagon, which for some people is good and some people it's not. And then it also comes to the fact of some of the athletes and fighters they have a weird disposition when it comes to a large crowd in general. Like they're not, like they can turn it on at the gym, but once they get out in front of a crowd, they can just turtle shell up and it doesn't work out. And then you have some that are the opposite, or like, they'll do the business at the gym, but once they get out in front of fans, they feed off that. They, just really go off of that. Like, what kind of fighter do you think you are? Are you more like you feed off a crowd, or are you kind of, you're good and you know what your mission is and it doesn't really bother you either way?
Yeah, I think, for me, I just like either way, crowd or no crowd, I'm going to perform how I do. That's a good question. I don't know, because I do get also like the vibe of a crowd and like hearing them, in the background and stuff. When you start hearing that cheering and stuff, it kind of, like reps you up. It's that support system that you get. So, I kind of do vibe off of that, and like the people around me will say that. So I don't know, I guess like maybe, like having people in the crowd and like hearing them, whether they're booing or cheering for you and going for it, the oohs, you hit a good punch, like hearing that and everything, that kind of gives you like a little bit of confidence and gets you going. So maybe I am that kind of fighter. I know like with the fights I've had, like I want to get in there and I want to consistently fight and keep that ring rust off. And just get that part going so it's more familiar. So like recently I was supposed to fight a few weeks ago, and the girl didn't even show up to weigh in, so I didn't even get to fight. But I'm hoping to fulfill this boxing stuff and get that going and really, maybe fight in New York someday or something, Times Square. That'd be cool.
Yeah, I mean, Times Square is definitely made for fights in general. So you're kind of divvying up your time with boxing and MMA at the moment?
So after my last UFC fight, I ended up I herniated disc in my back.
Ooh.
Yeah, and I found out So it was like multiple issues too. So I was dealing with that, and I've probably been dealing with that, for a while, and it was triggering, but also like both of my hips, my labrum of my hips are torn. I found that out. Yeah, I got MRIs on them. One was, one side, cause like, yeah, it's kind of bothering me, and, I think it was affecting my back as well. But then like the other side, I don't know what I was doing, running or something happened. I was like, oh man, that left, and I couldn't like even walk, and, it was triggering again. Like all of it was kind of like, it was just a big mess. And so, and a lot, like jiu-jitsu would flare it up and stuff. So I've laid off of doing that, and I've just been focusing on boxing right now. I play around, like I still go and spar, and I'll do some MMA stuff, and, I still like try to like kickbox a little bit. I had to do a whole lot of, rehab, and I had to build myself back up and really get my body back in tune with itself, and, you know, have a come to Jesus moment with myself, you know, just, like do a lot of stuff. So I've put MMA off, and I've just really focused on boxing. But the cool thing with it, with just focusing on boxing, is my hands have gotten so much better. I just feel way more confident in it. Everything is great, and I still go because I coach wrestling. I coach girls wrestling at the high school here.
That's awesome.
Teaching all that. Yeah, Supergirl was my first year doing that, and so like I'd be wrestling out with the girls, and that wasn't bad on my back or my body or anything either. So, you know, I'm like, I don't want to give up on the idea of not fighting MMA anymore, but yeah, again, like I'm focusing on boxing right now, and it's keeping the longevity of what my body can do, I feel like. So I want to take off and see what that's going to give to me. And maybe in the meantime, if I'm just feeling froggy, you know, doing more MMA again. I just, you know, I don't know. I want to do all the things. I'm not getting any younger. So it's like, we have to take my So I'm all for all of it, and just living my best life and just going out there. You know, I'm tired of, waiting, and I'm tired of just, I don't want to call it like living in like this fear, like I guess like the fear of my record, or the fear of this or that, like, you know, the things that come with fighting and you know, having the fights and stuff like that. Like, I'm not going to be stupid and just go out there and get myself murdered, you know, find somebody on my level, be great. But like, I want to take more chances. I just want to get out there and compete and do what I love to do, and not focus on the politics, on what fighting and all that has kind of come to.
Yeah, it's, I mean, I'm not in it, but again, you know, with the age of social media, you're reading everything that, you know, quote unquote is happening right now, and it depends on who's, you know, reporting it and all that. But, you know, I imagine there are quite a few politics as to what's happening behind the scenes. I mean, with any sport, really. I mean, if you look football, you know, there's some people that say that some of these games aren't fixed, but, you know, you look back on it and you're like, but were they? I mean, same thing with boxing. I've heard the same thing somewhat with MMA when it comes to, you know, not, obviously they're not all fixed, but you see some of them that you're like, well, that one really doesn't quite add up, even if you know, quote unquote landed a certain shot. But so the politics are obviously, unfortunately, a very big scene behind the scenes, but you obviously just focusing on you and controlling what you can control is really what's important at the end of the day. And so, you know, with all these injuries that have, you know, kind of unfortunately piled up on you, like, what are you doing when it comes to recovery, and what do you do to kind of like wind down? Because I know as we all get older, you know, Father Time is undefeated, so, you know, you kind of can't hide from it. So, you know, some people are just genuine genetic freaks that they could probably fight into their 50s and it wouldn't be an issue. But there are other people like us that are regular human beings that, you know, after a certain age, you start feeling certain aches and pains no matter what athletic level you're at. So, I mean, I guess coming back around to it, like, what is your kind of recovery routine, and then what else have you been adding in that you probably didn't earlier in your career?
Yeah, so, gosh, it's crazy because, again, even in my UFC career, it was like I'd be sitting, like, I couldn't get my body below 160. It just wasn't going down. I knew something was wrong. I was feeling like crap all the time. And again, so it's like I worked so hard to get to this point, to be on this top level, and then just a whole bunch of bullshit kept happening. It's just like, what the fuck, sorry for the language of that. But it's just
I said it earlier. Say it away. It's okay.
Yeah, I could not get a break. The Performance Institute was trying to help me, and it's just like, those guys, they have so many fighters going to them. I think you just kind of like start to blend in with it. Like, I got a lot of good help and insight from them, and they did good for what it was. So I'm not like bashing on them. I'm really grateful for everything that I had with it. But I needed like really like special attention to all that, and ended up like I found a dietitian. She helped me out a little bit, and I tried to I was like seeing a whole bunch of doctors now. I thought I had PCOS, thought I had this insulin thing, like it was just all this stuff. Lo and behold, it was like I was just doing too much, but I couldn't really take a break. So it's like my cortisol and like everything was just high enough, and I was previously like on birth control and all that, and like everything just flared up my whole system, and my body just literally needed a full time to rest. But me as an athlete, of course, I'm like, well, I can't do that. Sorry, I got fights. I got a thing. I felt so pressured to have to perform and all that. I never gave myself a break. So it was kind of a blessing in a way for the end of it that I got my contract cut short after my fight with Aaron Blanchfield. They cut my contract, and then getting injured and stuff, like it forced me to have to take time off, and I had like a full, I think I took like 3 months off. I just didn't do anything, and I was in a place and I had to like really heal myself. But doing that, I did a small reset. And I had to, I got kind of fat too. I always got it like, I think 175 for me. I was a thicken for a little bit too, and I got in, and then I found this boxing gym, and I was just really careful, and I just had to reset myself and take that break in order to get back to where I needed to be. So like now, every day I try to do a bunch of rehab and like good mobility stuff on my hips, and I really try to work that whole area to keep everything intact. I was supposed to get surgery. I was supposed to get surgery to fix my labral tear, and I decided I was going to go a different route, more natural route, and so far it's worked. There's certain things I just don't do. Like I said, I kind of avoided jiu-jitsu for a little bit just because like it was triggering me getting hurt. So I haven't done a whole lot of that. I don't run a whole lot, but I still am able to get a good amount of my cardio in. My shape's really good. I listen to my body. If I'm feeling exhausted, then I take a couple of days off. I just, eat really well, but I don't stress on it. If I want to have like some ice cream or something like that, if I want to drink a beer, probably like last summer, I lost most of my weight just like drinking beer after practice every
Really?
In the summer. Yeah. I'm always like suggest to people, and like they have a bunch of studies that's just like, alcohol is not good for you, this and that, and I was like, but like, I had my sad boy summer, so and I dropped like a whole lot, and I had the best time. So I don't know what one thing has to do with that. I just know I got down where I needed to be, and I just chilled. So even just like not being so stressed, that's part of my recovery